be completely honest with you, I find it heartbreaking that I would even have to explain the value of truth. But to be completely honest with you, if people do not understand the value of truth and don't start to choose it very quickly, the consequences for people in their individual lives and for humanity at large will be very, very huge. Consequences aside, without truth, people will not be able to actualize their desires within reality. Each individual person and humanity at large needs to rehabilitate their highly dysfunctional relationship with truth. If you were to boil down and condense my purpose down here on this earth, it is to show people the truth and rehabilitate their relationship with the truth. For this reason, I am going to tell you why you need the truth even if it hurts. 1. Truth is the only opportunity that you have to create what you want in reality, in actuality. Now, I know that reality is a hotly debated topic within all kinds of philosophy circles, all kinds of scientific circles, all kinds of spiritual circles. And that debate is really beneficial, up to the point where we don't use it as a tool to avoid what is. You all know that person who's in a terrible relationship, but they refuse to see the reality of their partner or themselves, and so the idea that they're in a good relationship is in their own head. It is not a reality that anyone else shares. It is rather like watching a grown adult playing house, which is a pretend game. If this person wants a good relationship in reality instead of in their own game of pretend, they're going to have to see the truth about their current partner. They're going to have to see the truth about who is and who isn't a good partner in reality. To give you another example, a person may really, really want to be a famous musician in reality, but let's imagine that the truth is, when they're playing their music, they're in their own narcissistic world, and it feels like they are pushing the audience away instead of drawing them in. And this is a result of the fact that they used music as their escape from their dysfunctional family growing up. They're going to have to swallow the truth that the way they are doing things doesn't appeal to an audience that wants to relate. If they want to have any power to change that and create what they want, which is sold out stadiums. To understand more about reality, you would benefit by watching my video titled Reality. To bring things into actual creation, you have to be in a space of truth and you have to be in reality. 2. Reality, which is about the objective truth, is your only access for power. It is only when you are in the reality, the truth, that your car is about to run out of gas, that you can take an action step to fill your car up with gas again. It is only by seeing the reality of how somebody else feels or what they're thinking that you can actually do anything right to make it so that they feel or think differently or feel or think better. It's only by seeing the reality that you are headed towards a waterfall and are about to go over that you can make the decision to get your boat out of the water before you go over the waterfall. The only power you have outside of reality is pretend. Pretend is a very powerful tool. It's what overlays are all about. If you want to see more about this, you can watch my video titled Overlay. But here's the thing. It's a game of pretend that allows you to feel however you want to feel regardless of the situation you're in. Like I said, powerful tool. If you're caught in a situation where you're totally captive, to be able to pretend that your prison bars are a palace, that's a pretty powerful thing to be able to do. But you can be comfortable in that prison cell forever in that game of pretend. I want you to think about just how much power you have that you will not exercise if you're stuck in that game of pretend. For example, if instead of seeing that you're going over the waterfall and responding accordingly by getting out of the water, you decide to feel good even when you die by telling yourself a story like, everything that's happening is meant to happen. Or the water's sounding louder ahead because the canyon walls are getting narrower up ahead. Or maybe today is the day that the universe is going to show me that I actually can fly. The people who are the most successful absolutely understand the power of anything is possible. But you want to know what else they understand? The absolute power of looking directly at truth and reality so as to directly be able to do something about it. You will never get actual results if you are not able to look at the reality, if you are not able to look at the truth. no matter how much that reality sucks to hear. Anything is possible, but nothing is possible from outside reality and outside truth. Truth and expansion go hand in hand. Truth creates growth. Lies and pretend and illusion, they prevent expansion and growth. The reality of what is, it serves as contrast. The reality serves as an awareness of the unwanted and the wanted experience. It is that awareness of the unwanted reality that makes people go in the direction with their minds and their actions and their words of what it is that is wanted instead. So often you see people not seeing, not accepting, and not telling the truth, and because of this, everyone is kept away from growth. We're not confronting something that must be confronted for the sake of our own progress and or theirs. For example, we may not want to see the reality or admit to the truth that our family is dysfunctional, is fragmented, and is unsupportive. So you'll hear somebody saying things like, we're really close as a family, and our family is the best. Not realizing that by doing so, they're actually preventing the positive change of the entire family and any member within that family group. You're actually preventing your family from getting better, from getting closer, from getting more functional, from getting more supportive. When we promote illusion in this situation, we're not realizing that by doing this, no member of the family is in a position to have to examine the way they relate to one another. The truth is, their dysfunctional ways may be hurting them and everyone around them. But because we're keeping ourselves and or them in that illusion, there is no opportunity to change or grow or improve. We're keeping ourselves and keeping them ignorant, and by doing so, preventing our expansion and their expansion. Truth makes you progress, lies and illusion hold you back. And here's the thing, and I really do need to warn you about this relative to your families, because a lot of people like to look at me, especially when I'm trying to make you aware of truths about yourself or your family that feel uncomfortable to look at. You tell the story that I'm against the family, but here's the reality. If you're buying into an illusion within your family, you're the one that's against your family. Because this universe is going to awaken people to the reality of themselves with or without your participation. If you don't step into that position of putting your family in the reality, what happens? They get put in that reality in some other situation. What you're essentially doing is saying, I'm not going to participate in this whole thing. I'm going to buy into the illusion that family's close and that mom and dad are awesome. And not realizing that the universe does not share your penchant for illusion. It's going to magnify that mirror regardless of whether it comes through you or someone else. So let's say that you notice that mom and dad are actually not very happy together, but you're going to continue to fuel the illusion that they're happy together. Guess what's going to happen? Probably one of them is going to cheat and it's going to rip the hell out of the family. It's not like by buying into an illusion, that illusion becomes real. That magnification or that reflection simply comes in some other way. Truth makes you progress. Lies and illusion hold you back. For not seeing the truth and not seeing reality can actually make you very much like a cancer cell within humanity, a cancer cell within the universe at large, and therefore a huge target for the immune system of the universe at large. In a universe based off of the law of mirroring, also known as the law of attraction, there are such huge implications for going into a narcissistic bubble reality. I cannot even stress to you how extreme these consequences are. I never want you to forget what I'm about to say. You ready? You absolutely can build a reality for yourself made for one and one only. You absolutely can, by only looking at certain things, by controlling your thoughts so that you only look at and think things and assign meaning and tell yourself a narrative that feels good, create your own narcissistic bubble reality within this joint consensus reality. You can dedicate your life to controlling everything with your mind, words, and actions so as to get a positive feeling result for yourself, regardless of whether you are doing so in reality or not. And here's the thing. This narcissistic bubble reality you can absolutely build for yourself will feel so empowering, especially if you're one of those people who feels like your reality and feeling good in reality is so powerless and at the mercy of other people. That's why you feel yourself gravitating to teachers in the spiritual field who tell you things like, you need to create your own reality by deliberately going into denial and ignoring anything that doesn't feel good and focusing only on what does feel good. It's gonna work. It's gonna feel good. You will feel relief when you listen to people tell you you create your own reality. When you do this, others, quote unquote, will only be a part of your reality if they conform to and feed into your own narcissistic bubble reality. You are completely alone in that reality. The thing is that you're not even going to feel it. Because in your narcissistic bubble reality, you have friends. Just like a person with imaginary friends. Because even though you are alone, you will not perceive yourself to be alone. And because you will perceive that narcissistic bubble reality to feel good, when anyone comes along and pops that narcissistic bubble reality, regardless of how dangerous it might be making your life for you because you don't notice it, you're not going to see that person as a savior. You're going to see them as the enemy. Now, what I'm about to tell you should scare you, because this is a potential that's actually being actualized by a lot of people right now. You do have the capacity to create a narcissistic bubble reality within a consensus reality that is absolutely so strong that, guess what? The universe at large can't even pop it. Because every single attempt to get you to see something outside that bubble reality, anything that could get you to accommodate a different reality, anything that could try to get you to see a negative or painful truth so as to create a positive change for yourself or other people around you, you will simply reframe. Every consequence the universe gives you, every mirror it tries to reach you with, every reflection, you will reframe and reframe and reframe and reframe so that it makes you feel good, regardless of how much of an illusion that is. If you are doing this, you will be able to escape the experiencing of any consequence of anything you think, say, or do. Though you still live in a universe based off of the law of cause and effect, you could make it so you do not really feel the effect of anything. You're no longer receiving the mirroring messages or truth from others and from the collective or from the universe at large. You are uninfluenceable. You're ignoring, reframing, and reinterpreting everything so that they are what you want them to be. And by doing so, you have officially separated from and made yourself like a cancer cell within the universe at large. The amount of damage that you can do to your own life, damage you won't perceive, of course, because you'll tell yourself and others a different narrative, and the amount of damage you can do to others in a consensus reality by being this way is absolutely indescribable. If you choose this path, you have actually chosen a path of separation, not a path of relationship, and not a path of oneness. And you have made that choice for the sake of your own stability, for the sake of your own personal sense of peace, for the sake of you alone feeling good, for the sake of control. Big consequences for this one. But you, especially if you are resistant to truth, you need to see that you do have this choice. It is a choice as a conscious creator to enter into whatever reality construct you wish to enter into with your mind, even if it's built for only one. You have the choice to choose separation. This is perhaps the largest shadow side of being a fragment of Source itself. What do I mean by this? Source itself is everything in existence. Now, Source, fragmented, shattered. And that means that each individual fragment of Source is imbued with the qualities and characteristics of Source itself, including the capacity to create. This means you could create your own bubble reality. You could choose separation and not even see that you're separated. You could do all of those things. You have free will. Free will is an absolute of any fragment within Source consciousness. You get to choose whatever the hell you want to do with it, despite whether what you do with it impacts all other fragments of yourself. The powers you inherently possess due to being a fragment of Source, powers like creation and free will, just like a knife, can be used for something beneficial to all or detrimental to all. And if you made that choice, what are you a match to? When you say, I can create my own reality, the universe says to you, yes, you absolutely can. But you do need to question the value of creating your own reality. 5, truth is actually the only thing that is actually stable. whether you realize it or not. And this is important because people who are resistant to truth revere stability. They feel like negative truths are destabilizing and destructive as a force. But consider that if a truth is able to destroy or destabilize something, that thing was not strong, real, or stable in the first place. That stability you thought you had was a total illusion. Your world was built on quicksand. Maybe you were even in denial. To understand more about denial, you may benefit by watching my video titled How to Call Bullshit on Denial. Truth can and should be used as the only way to test actual stability in your life. It should be used to test the stability, the strength, and reality of any element of your life. 6, if you are not looking at truth and not looking at reality, you are in fact farther away from any solution to the problems you might be facing than doing anything else. I got an example for you. Let's imagine that you're in a road accident and you have a broken leg. If you are unwilling to admit to the truth that your leg is broken, you're just going to get up and start hobbling around, and probably the situation's going to get much worse. By not being in the reality that your leg is broken, you are farther away from the solution, not closer, no matter how you feel. Somebody who was in the situation and didn't want to admit to the fact they had a broken leg might know that by seeing and accepting that they have a broken leg, it'll suck. Because it means feeling terrified, it means a painful process of resetting the bone and going through months of physical rehab. So this person may simply swallow painkillers and wear long pants. It's pretty easy when I give you this example to see how doing this is going to make things much, much worse. But guess what? That's the case for all situations. All truth we are avoiding works this way, no matter what the truth is. There is a very big difference between something being actually good for you or something being actually healing and something that feels good. You already understand this relative to things like junk food, things like addictions, things like painkillers, and things like coping mechanisms. To understand more about this, though, you can watch my video titled Novocaine Spirituality. Truth brings you closer to the solutions to your problems, and it prevents things from escalating and getting worse. 7, you can only avoid crisis, avoid serious pain, and maintain stability in your life and actuality if you recognize truths when they are very, very small. If you're unwilling to do this, then what you're in for in life is huge samsara waves. To illustrate this point, I want you to imagine what the difference would be between admitting to the fact that you're incompatible with somebody maybe a month into dating them, versus admitting to incompatibility as a truth 5 years into having married them after you already have a child. Okay, obviously admitting to the truth when it's very, very small versus having to see it once it's very, very large means a lifetime of pain and a lifetime of suffering, all of which could have been avoided if we recognized reality and truth when it was very, very small. If you don't face a truth and act in response to that truth that you see when it is very small, it is an absolute truth that it will escalate, and you will suffer as a result of it. 8, the truth is your only shot at living the life you want to live and making the choices that are actually the right ones for you. For example, let's say that you're gay. To admit to the fact that you're gay is literally your only shot at living a pleasing life and finding a pleasing relationship. It's easy to see that if you keep lying about that, you're going to be that guy who's miserable in a marriage you're trying to make work, sitting and praying in the pews of your church for the universe to take away your desires towards members of the same sex. That does not sound like a satisfying life. Imagine your life if you didn't see or accept that truth and made all the wrong choices for yourself because of it. Imagine the damage you could do to yourself and others. On top of this, not living from truth and not telling the truth is really bad for your health. To understand more about this, you can watch my video titled How to Be Authentic. The willingness to live in alignment with truth, especially your truth, opens up the possibility for you to live a life that is so much infinitely better than the one you can possibly imagine at this moment. 9, the truth is literally your only shot at having good relationships. In order for a good relationship to happen, you have to be in reality about your truth and in reality about the truth of the other person. You have to be in what is real to be able to take the right actions, towards that relationship. If you are not truthful and in reality about yourself, and if you are not in reality about or seeing the truth of other people, you have no chance of being happy in any of your relationships. You won't get your needs met, neither will they. You won't find compatible people or compatible relationship configurations. They won't be able to do what is right by you, and you won't be able to do what is right by them. To understand this in depth, watch 3 of my videos. The first titled Attunement, the key to a good relationship. The second titled Stop Trying to Love Them and Start Trying to Understand Them. And the third titled Overlay. In alignment with this point about relationships, you are living in a consensus reality. This means that the time-space reality that you currently live your life in is a co-creation, and you intended for it to be, because you understood that by coming in here, while you were not able to control the entire picture that was being co-created, you understood that you had immense influence over what was created. Everything you do affects everything else here. Everything you do affects all other parts of the system that you are a part of, because everything is, at the highest level, all one. You must acknowledge the perspectives of other beings in this consensus reality. That means you must accommodate their truth and they must accommodate yours, because you will be affected by each other, whether you decide to see and accommodate their truth and work directly with it or not. To have a relationship, you must accommodate each other's reality. Seeing, accommodating, and working directly with their truth is your best chance at creating alignment in this consensus reality, as opposed to zero-sum games, such as war. 10. The truth gives you long-lasting and stable results. If you have built up anything from a place of illusion, from anything other than truth, it is an absolute guarantee that it is a short-term game that you are playing. Those results will not last long-term. They will be washed away just like a sandcastle hit by the tide. Making a decision or basing an action in truth is a bit like sinking an anchor into the bedrock. If you sink an anchor into the bedrock, no matter what changes, no matter what tides ebb and flow, you are still in this kind of stability, in that very thing you're trying to look for, if you are resistant to truth. For example, if I tell myself that I want to go to college to be a doctor, but in reality that's a lie. What I really want is my dad's approval, and he's only going to approve of me if I go to school to become a doctor. I'm setting myself up for a life that will crumble. No stability or lasting results. I will become a doctor only to come apart at the seams. I will take a job in a hospital and hate my life and start to manifest physical ailments and have no relationship success, and I will end up dying or quitting. If you make a decision based off of anything but truth, you're looking at short-term results. You're looking at something that will crumble. The truth will always be revealed, eventually. 11. We have no shot at creating a thriving human society unless we create a society that is conducive to people being truthful, honest, and living in alignment with truth. Society is simply the macrocosm. That means every single point that I have put before you in this episode doesn't just apply to a single physical human. It applies to the whole of human society as well. A person has to want to see the truth. And unfortunately, you can't make a person want the truth. Truth is not a painkiller. Truth is the agent for actual positive change and actual healing. But this means that truth could bring with it the sensation of relief or the sensation of genuine pain. Either way, it brings with it the power to create what you actually want and within reality. Have a good week.